Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Royal Road Minerals CEO Tim Coughlin. Tim, very good to speak with you again. You've announced that you're acquiring an option to acquire the Lala Aziza mining license in Morocco. Tell us more about the deal and what you're going to be acquiring.
Hi, Stephen. Good to talk to you again. Yes, of course. So, what we're acquiring is an operating copper mine project that's being developed on a small section um, of a large, of a shear zone that extends across the entire extent of the license. So it's around about 4 kilometers long from within the mining license boundaries. The reason we're particularly interested in this project and that structure is that we do know that it extends for a lot longer than that. And so this is an area um, a lot longer in terms of strike extent. So this is an area that we've been interested in for a while in Morocco. Um, we ran a lot of numbers on the project ourselves internally, looking at its potential. We see there's plenty of standalone potential, which is obviously what you need. And then also sort of, exploration upside. And in terms of the program, well, we're going to start. We've got 120 days from now, basically, to get stuck into some geochemistry, so mapping. We've got access to 3 levels of underground, so of course we'll be sampling underground, and then mapping out the extent of this, 4 kilometers or so that we've got within the license, and then trying to find where it goes outside of that license area.
And you do say that there is a mining license in place, so that means you can advance quite quickly.
Yeah, it means that drilling permits are there, more or less. They're drilling there every day in terms of underground development. So yeah, it gets over. It's an interesting resistance boundary. I suppose almost everywhere globally now that we've all become complacently accustomed to, which is drilling permits. We can, especially if you're in on the greenfield side of things like we are, advancing early stage discoveries, you always hit that drill permitting resistance boundary a lot harder than you used to. And so we're already beyond that in this project, which I think is significantly unique aspect of it.
Tim, you've signed a letter of intent. You're going to acquire the option to acquire the license. Take us through the mechanics of that.
So the mechanics are it's a binding letter of intent, LOI. So which is a little bit unusual, I suppose. Most letters of intent are sort of legally feeble, but this has laid out the basic terms which must be followed in form and function and form part of the definitive agreement. And the idea of the LOI is really for us to get on the ground, conduct some sampling, get comfortable with it, and then following that point, we move to a definitive agreement stage, and it's an automatic procedure provided we do want to move ahead. Commit to drilling. We pay our partners there, so Carbo Mine, fantastic partner, by the way, very enthusiastic, and keen for us to get going. We pay them $200,000, and then we kick off a minimum 2,000-meter drilling program. And at that point onwards, we can decide whether we want to acquire the project after the drilling program.
I hope you'll keep us updated on any progress with that. But thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thanks, Stephen. My pleasure.
That's Royal Road Minerals CEO Tim Coughlin.